So for this video I want to look at mail merging. So what is mail merging first of all? If you're totally unaware, we've got a letter here for instance in Word, we've got a name, an address, and we want to write this letter to 5 different people. And rather than writing 5 different names and addresses and find that bit where it says name and make sure that we put the person's name in there and we don't forget it. Rather than do that manually, we want to do it automatically. That's what a mail merge is. So the way to start is consider what you have. Create a letter and leave some gaps where you want to put the name in, the address, or whatever information you want to mail merge. Then what you need is a file which contains the information you want to bring in. So typically what you'll do here is use an Excel spreadsheet. So I've got an Excel spreadsheet here. This is just some fake data. You can actually get fake names and addresses online just for sort of like proofing purposes, and that's all I've done here. These are not real people. These are fake details. So I've got 5 names there, but you can imagine that could be 50, 100, 1,000. It all works the same way. So what you need to do is you need to look at your Excel spreadsheet and consider what you have. We've got a header row along the top, which is the title for the information that's in each of the columns. Then we've got forename, surname, the street, the town, and the postcode. So if we go back to here, you can actually see that where this is now going to start coming together. What I've also done is I have saved both of these documents in the same place. I've put them for now on my desktop, but usually you'd put these in a folder on your My Documents or wherever. It helps to have them both in the same place. It just becomes much easier. Particularly when 6-12 months down the line you want to do the same thing again. You know where the files are, they're not kind of scattered around in different places. So to start our mail merge, we go to mailings. And this used to be very, very clunky. And in some word processing programs it's still quite clunky, but actually the way they've done this here in the newer versions of Word is very useful. You essentially start at the left and you work along. So start mail merge. It says what do we want to do. So for this we're going to go letters. Doesn't appear to have done anything, but that's fine. So we've done start mail merge. We now move across to select recipients. You can now type a list in directly, or you can use an existing list. We will use an existing list. It will now say what list do you want to use. Select your data source. So it's on the desktop and it's the addresses. So you'll see that even though we're in Word, it can see Excel documents. So I'll click open. It will now say select table. So if we look at the Excel spreadsheet, you'll see we've got sheet 1 here. That's all it's asking you for, is which worksheet that it's actually going to use. The important thing here is first row of data contains column headers. If you've exported data from say an MIS system and you haven't got that header row at the top, you can untick that box. What I would suggest is in your Excel spreadsheet, you put a header row in and add your own titles if it's not there. You'll see why in a second. It will make things a lot easier. So the first row of the data contains column headers. Click OK. We can then move along. Do we want to edit the recipient list? No, we're fine with that. We can just do an address block and a greeting line. I'm going to move across from those and I'm going to go to the insert merge field. This is a slightly longer way of doing it, but it gives you a bit more power and you can see what's actually going on. So I'm going to highlight name because I actually want to get rid of that and change it to the actual name. So if I then go to insert merge field, you'll see that I have forename, surname, street, town and postcode. Those are the words from the header row. This is why it's a good idea to have a header row and to put one in if there isn't one there, because all it will say is column A, column B, column C, column D. if you've got a lot of columns, you will get very quickly confused. It's much easier to just say, use the header row, and now we can see we want the forename. You'll see it then changes, and it's got forename, it's got those two little greater than and less than characters either side. That's to say that it's a merge field. If we want to put the surname in, we need to realise, of course, there's a space between them, and it won't put that space in, so we have to press space. And then we can go Insert Merge Field, Surname. We can then highlight the address, Insert Merge Field, Street. I want it to be on the next line. Quick tip, if you press Enter and you have that little line break there in Word, if you press Shift and Enter, it goes directly to the next line. So I can go Insert Merge Field, Town, Shift and Enter, Insert Merge Field, Postcode. I can then say Dear, press space, forename, surname. Now, what I could have done, of course, is had Mr., Mrs., Ms., Doctor, those sort of things. You would need another merge field with those in. But for this, that's fine. And then just confirm a letter that, and we'll just put for there the first name. You are now done, believe it or not. You can look at the results. So if we, again, you've just moved from left to right. If you preview the results, you'll see there's our first name. So we've got Jaden, Riley, Rebecca, Charles, and Jessica. And I can actually go through using the arrow keys, Jaden, Riley, Rebecca, Charles, Jessica. I can go straight to the end. I can go back to the start. It's worth bearing in mind when you're doing this. If you're doing things like name labels, for instance, you may have it set into a space so it fits on the label, and you may have some very long names. It's worth just checking if things are going to be dependent on layout, to just have a look down your Excel spreadsheet, find the longest name. So we can see there that it's probably Charles Connolly or Jaden Marshall, and you could just go through and either skip through to them and just make sure everything's still laid out with a very long name, or you can actually click Find Recipients, type in the person's name, and it will find it in the list. All we're doing now is previewing the results. The file that we've generated is literally just this. So it's the Word document with the merge fields and a reference to the fact that we are linking to this file. We haven't actually created the documents yet. So this is where, again, we move from left to right. We go to Finish and Merge. I can edit individual documents. I can send them as emails. I can print them. You can just hit print and it will print all the merge documents as you want them. The thing is, you never know if there's a mistake. It's much easier to go Finish and Merge and go to Edit Individual Documents. Which ones do you want to merge? Do you want all of them, a particular record, or you can do a range? We'll go for all. And you'll see it will now generate a document. You'll see this is 5 pages long. There's the letter for Jaden. We move down. It automatically puts a page break in. There's the letter for Riley. We move down. There's the letter for Rebecca. We move down. Charles and Jessica. So you'll see that it's done us a single document with all 5 letters in, one following another. We can then, if we need to make a little change here or there, we can go in and do that, and then we can hit File and Save. So that is how we do a mail merge. It's simply a case of preparing everything, knowing where your data is, knowing that you've got your letter set out correctly, and then going into mailings and working from left to right, starting the mail merge right the way along to Finish and Merge.